The revelation that Toni Braxton and Birdman secretly got married last year and split up after 48 hours has me completely blown up, bro.
Are you guys a couple?
Well, T, that's my girl, my friend, my family.
Do you have sex?
Wow. That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust.
Because you bought her a Bentley truck.
Yes.
So the implication is that's your girlfriend.
She my life.
We cannot possibly handle this drama at your advanced age, Miss Toni, so please step forward. Birdman, too. Both of you are too mature for this sort of drama. What is even worse, you know? Rumor has it that Toni may have used the marriage and divorce as a means of pressuring Birdman. Homegirl is Baroque. That is why. Baroque, I need you all to take a seat, child, because it is incredibly messy. Here is some background information on their relationship and how it led to their marriage and subsequent 2-day separation. To begin with, you should be aware that Toni and Birdman have been acquainted for a very long period. Many were shocked when they announced their love to the world in June of 2016, and there were even rumors that they had eloped in 2017. Toni, however, put an end to those rumors. In a 2018 interview with People, Toni did discuss their relationship, acknowledging how long they had been friends and how she never anticipated a romantic relationship. She said, he's been my bestie for like 15 or 16 years. He has come to my baby showers, my plays, my shows. I never thought we would be dating or getting married. It's comforting to have someone tell you it's okay to be ill and that you don't have to be Wonder Woman at all times. Every night, he would ask me, "Are you okay? Are you good?" I said, "Oh my God, he's such a great guy." When Birdman finally made his move, he told me he always liked me, and I was like, "You never told me." And he's like, "Well, you were married." He said, "I was always digging for you. It can be emotionally, physically, and mentally taxing to fight an illness that constantly threatens pulmonary embolism and blood clots." But Toni claims she never had to pretend to have lupus around Birdman because he always understood. She also said, "I can get on television when I'm having a terrible day and tell them it's a good day, and he'll say, 'No, it's not. I can tell.' I've always had issues dating because I was ashamed to have lupus and felt like no one would want to take care of a woman with lupus. I was insecure. With him, I can be comfortable with a little hat or scully on with some lipstick and mascara, but I can just let my hair down a little bit. And that feels great." Well, Birdman did eventually propose, and Toni even captioned photos from the moment a couple minutes before we got engaged, then 24 hours after. In one picture, the couple was seen hugging as Toni's new rock was on full view, and in another, they were seen snapping a selfie. In an interview with Wendy Williams at the time, Birdman even raved about Toni, telling her that he was his soldier, his love, his life, and everything, and he had a deep love for her.
Are you guys a couple?
Well, T, that's my girl, my friend, my family.
Do you have sex?
That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust.
Because you bought her a Bentley truck.
Yes.
So the implication is that's your girlfriend.
She my life.
Toni also discussed the engagement with her, and she mentioned that they nearly went on 2 dates, but they were practicing Braxton family values and experiencing some drama. She thought the wedding would be a nice way to bring the sisters together.
But there's no date.
There's no date. We almost had a date. Well, we had 2 dates, but we were doing Braxton family values and we were going through a little drama. And I was like, okay, the wedding is a good thing to get all of our sisters together. Yeah. But I couldn't get us all together. And I said, the wedding's not a good reason because it's messing up my relationship a little bit. He's like, come on, Michelle, set a date. I know.
That's what he calls you?
Calls me Michelle. Doesn't call me Toni at all. That's my middle name, Toni Michelle.
Sadly, she was unable to bring them all together. You know, Toni also expressed her excitement about getting married in her People interview, saying, "This is my second wedding, and I'm over 40. It's like Carrie Bradshaw, the last bride over 40. So I want something that's elegant and a little sexy. I've already done the beautiful belle dress at my first wedding. This time, I want something that's more vintage, 20s and 30s, like Great Gatsby themed." As for her groom's must-do list, Toni said, "He said he wants macaroni and cheese." I said, "Can we have macaroni and cheese balls to keep it pretty?" Toni also said she would let Birdman have his say about the location, adding, "We talked about Atlanta, but he said no because he didn't want any remnants of my first wedding." Actually, the wedding never took place. Additionally, Toni stated that work obligations were the reason they kept delaying the date. However, that was complete bullshit. She had the option to wed the man if she so desired. Recall that Toni said she left her $1 million engagement diamond in her checked luggage and lost it to apparent theft shortly after this. Additionally, the entire incident was really suspicious. Before we knew it, the two had split up in 2019. Additionally, Khan, currently Birdman, wrote a solitary and cryptic. It's over-captioned on his Instagram and then proceeded to delete every picture of Toni from his account. On the other hand, Toni posted a pic of herself in a red gown and wrote in the caption, "Starting a new chapter isn't always an easy choice, but always choose to be chosen. Cheers to a new year." However, after reconciling on stage at the Fox Theater during Toni's tour stop in Atlanta, Georgia, the two seemed to get back together a few weeks later. However, Toni dispelled speculations of a marriage in December 2023, writing #fake news on an Instagram post when she said, "My dear friend at Birdman and I are not married, never been married. We are both single. We are now learning that they were married, you know, and that they split up just 48 hours after. As in, what the devil is happening?" The first thing TMZ obtained were court filings. Toni and Birdman used only their initials TB and BW. Furthermore, it was easy to determine that the documents were about Toni and Birdman, even though they most likely believed the specifics would stay under wraps. Now, based on the court documents, Toni and Birdman secretly married on August 8th, and it says there that they separated on August 10th. 2 weeks later, Toni filed for divorce. Additionally, Toni and her lawyer in the documents called the marriage irretrievably broken. Well, there's another plot twist to the situation. Yes, they separated just 2 days after getting married, but Toni dismissed the divorce petition in January 2025. Therefore, they are still legally married as of right now. However, I am not sure if they are a happy couple, kid. However, the rumors and indications point to the possible end of Toni Braxton and Birdman's relationship, regardless of their marriage's legal status. Both have removed pictures of themselves from their Instagram accounts, and neither has been spotted wearing wedding bands recently. What I can tell you, child, is that this information has been making waves on the internet, particularly when it was revealed that Toni supposedly took a sizable sum of money from the divorce. In response to the news, one person wrote, "I thought Toni and that weirdo broke up a long time ago. Come to find out, they were married. Why? Toni Braxton living legend. Why?" Another person also added, "Toni Braxton got tired of the marriage and filed for divorce. Birdman will have to pay her more than half of his over $160 million fortune for investing so much in their 1-month marriage. Out of 24 hours in a day, use 22 hours to fear women." Regarding Toni reportedly taking millions of dollars, we are well aware of her prior financial troubles. You all recall when she was earning less than 35 cents an album, despite reports that she was making millions for her record label, Aries de la Fosse. She even filed legal action against her label. In January 1998, 8 weeks after filing the lawsuit against the label, Toni also filed for bankruptcy. Then later, she revealed that she declared bankruptcy due to recording contract issues that amounted to her receiving less than $2,000 in royalties and having to reimburse her record label for clothes, travel, studio time, and music video costs. Toni was accused of fraudulently transferring $53,490 to her husband, Kerry Lewis, in order to avoid paying back creditors in her bankruptcy case. She did that Oprah interview about the same time as this. Additionally, Toni Braxton found the interview to be extremely degrading and humiliating, believing Oprah to be arrogant, patronizing, and insensitive, despite her belief that it might elicit some sympathy for her financial predicament.
She was so freaking mean to me. I was in shock. Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%.
100%.
100%.
I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much. I admired her and looked up to her. And she pretty much reprimanded me. I read that you were upset about stories that your overspending caused this. She says to me, "I hear you have Gucci flatware." I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware. First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware. You ain't got Gucci flatware because you didn't want to buy it. It's not because you couldn't afford it.
In any case, Toni filed for bankruptcy once more in 2010 after being forced to quit her lucrative contract in Las Vegas due to a diagnosis of microvascular angina and later lupus.
Like a lot of people don't understand, my second bankruptcy because I was sick. I have lupus, and my show in Vegas got canceled.
And the insurance wouldn't cover
The
it.
insurance didn't cover it, so I had to pay myself.
Right.
And so
That's a lot. That was a lot of
It
money.
was a lot of money to put up a show. People don't understand. I said, if you see a concert, you see the lights, you see the band on stage, the artist pays for all that. The hotel rooms, the salary. So then you have nothing left.
In addition, in 2019, Toni was having more financial troubles when the IRS filed a first lien against her on December 4th. The lien stated that Toni owed a total of $340,252.99 in back taxes for 2017. Days later, the State of California Franchise Tax Board also hit her with a tax lien of their own, over $116,154.64 for money owed, bringing the total to nearly $500,000 in back taxes. This is the reason why some people believe that the marriage and divorce were likely arranged for financial gain. At this point, whatever hijinks are happening between Toni and Birdman are just amusing. Perhaps it is a plot point for the show. For example, why do you suppose they were married and then split up 2 days later? Was Toni trying to make money? Are they still together, in your opinion? Please share your ideas in the comments box below. I would love to hear them.